we were jumping trains and stuff like that. We had the worst car. We'll probably only make it about 10 metres down the road. But when we were jumping trains, and if there was coppers getting on the train or police officers getting on the train, we were just running down the carriage. Me and him were on the front of every news over home. Like, we've murdered someone. That's how bad it was. We were beating murderers to 6 p.m. news. So I just said, if there's an opportunity overseas, then I'll be happy to take it. And Chris Chester called me.
Now then, we've got Big D here at the ShowMe Towers. Been wanting to do this for a couple of years, so we finally got him. I travel down, D? How long? An hour and a half? 2 hours?
Nah, it's not that long. An hour. But it's an awful drive by yourself. Not when I'm coming down with my wife and kids, it's fun. But when you're by yourself...
Yeah, but you've come in Ferrari, Dave, today.
You know, mate, great scenery. It's a great drive. It is a great drive down here, but... Jesus, not after training.
Just before we crack on with this, last time Dave come, or one of the times, I just said to Dave, I'll say he brought his dad and family over, went to the pantry, didn't we? And I tried to explain to Dave's dad what a Scotch egg was. I wanted him to taste it local.
It's fresh.
Yeah,
fresh.
And this ball come out of must be that thick, and I didn't concentrate on giving it. I said, if you can have it with brown sauce. I think I said brown sauce. And I just looked to me right, and your dad had got it like there, like it was just in his... I think he tried to put the full half into his gob, didn't he? He stopped talking, and I'm like, how do you like it? And he went, like that, and then it disappeared. But I think your dad, the only person I've seen, he did it in 3 bites, you know, it went bang, it went all over, wasn't it?
He probably doesn't even understand what you're saying, that's probably why. Very broken English. He's got real bad English at the moment.
Where did, don't know about your dad there, so where are you actually from, Dave? Where were you born? Give us a little bit.
My old man was born and bred in Tonga. I come over to Australia at the age of 18. I think you met me mum then. Yeah, we were born in Sydney, Australia. So, bit of fun. Out west though, we're out west.
And how many kids? How many?
Got an older brother and I've got a twin brother.
So older brother's called?
Latu. He was over here earlier and he's pretty much made me come over in 2015, 16, I think.
Got you. And then there's Andrew. And Andrew's twin?
Yeah. Andrew's twin brother just living it up back home.
And how did your dad get you into... So was dad a rugby fan, a rugby player? Mum?
Yeah, mum was she was a bit of both. She hated us going to contact sports, stuff like that. My old man, he was the more rugby, loved watching rugby, stuff like that, but we played soccer first. I think at the age of 4 and 5 we played soccer because we were just too hyped up. Got tested for ADD, stuff like that. We were just,
like every rugby player.
We were ferals. Me and my twin brother were ferals. My older brother played soccer first. They just pointed the finger and said, just go play, put him in rugby. That's where they then didn't need to play. Then we played from under sixes and, scored a few points and stuff like that, and they loved us ever since from then.
You told me about a year ago when I asked how you got your feet and your thing, you said, did you used to play centre?
Grew up playing centre my whole life. Centre, as in the older years, played a bit of like fullback, 5'8". Really only 5'8" because they just want to give me early ball and just let me get over and skittle them pretty much. But I enjoy it. Put me back in fullback is just catch the ball and just run back. Let's go. But made centre right through to my 20s. Made West Tigers 20s as a centre.
Wow.
There's a clip somewhere, I don't know. A trial
Sam,
match.
you can get that. We'll put that on.
There's a trial. Yeah, there's a trial somewhere where I was a centre, he's short. Andrew actually kicks off. He's got the 8 jersey. I've got the 4 jersey and just kicks off and I skittle down the field off the kick off. But
were you that? Is it me? But were you that big then? Were you playing?
I was 104 kilos, 6'4", what we are now.
What age?
No, what wage?
What age were you
20s.
So when did you give us when did the size come? Or were you always massive?
Oh, no, I was always a stick growing up, so we were just lanky, tall, lanky, ran cross country, stuff like that for our whole school. Represented some, like state level running long distance, and I was always good at long distance. And then at age of 16, we went down to Griffith, where my dad's family and that are from. Started eating the Islander food pretty much. Started eating and just started I think we started bulking out a bit. By then, I ended up switching my brother for all the trouble we went through. I ended up coming back and meeting my missus, and then Andrew went down there and just blew out. He blew out to about 120 kilos maybe.
Wow.
But just ran amok down there. No one could stop him really. So then West Tigers were down there and just said, we want him. Yeah, get him up here. And they pretty much asked, do you know any other players like yourself? Come and watch me play at Penrith from a local team one day.
Did Andrew actually say something like, yeah, there's two of us?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a twin. They just said, where's your twin? Told him about it, and then, next thing they just said, we want you to come down for a trial. Wow. First trialled we made Roosters SG Ball as a wingers. Me and Andrew I trialled as a winger.
Wow.
And then just said, we got through halfway through pre-season, we just said, stuff this. Coming from a housing commission house and stuff like that, getting trains into the city, it's not the best life, going through school and stuff like that. And so we just threw it in, and then pretty much, West Tigers actually come through with an actual decent contract and stuff like that for 20s. They said we'll just have a real crack at it. They just told us, sat us down and said, you can have a real crack at this.
Were you tearaways as kids? Were you at it? Were you lively?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, housing commission, what's housing commission over here? Council house, is it? Growing up, single parent, my parents split from a young age. We just ran amok. I don't know. In and out, in and out court, stuff like that. Police, always knocking on the doors. They knew, every police officer knew who we were. We just thrived on getting to chase, really. For some of the shit we do, I had to keep it quiet around me some because I don't want him going through that stuff, so it's good.
It's actually good that, when you think about it, a lot of the lads we speak to, a lot of lads I've dealt with, they've got that in them, and I think sport and rugby, as boxing does a lot, it's allowed them to channel that in the right, innit?
Exactly.
Which without your rugby, you might have still been running streets and
well, that's it. It comes to a point where, especially in your teenage years, late, 16, 15, 16, that's when you're out walking the streets at night, having fun, looking for parties. There's no social media or anything, knowing where the parties are. You're listening, any music coming on, how loud the music is and stuff like that. We used to walk the streets all night. And then it was like, you come to a conclusion where you keep doing this route and go nowhere, or try to cut off and make your own path and see how this route goes, pretty much. So, yeah.
We did a boxing club for quite a few years in Doncaster, and I got involved, and I think it saved a load of them. I think I can never forget them coming outside gym on the BMXs, and they were looking for a bit of not trouble, but a bit of crack. And he's deceased now. Our trainer just said, "Lads, what are you doing?" They were like, "Oh, we're going to call some trainer." He's like, "Do you fancy coming in?" And there must have been 7 of them, all about 14, and they all dropped the bikes, laughing their heads off. Come in, yeah. They got 3 ABA champions out of them. The story could be a Netflix. It were like, you know what I mean? I'll never forget, one of them, they were twins, Jamie and Gavin McDonald. One of them just come in, and literally had feet, hands, and I'm like, are you kidding? He'd never boxed, never done any, not really football, no sport. And then within a year, he'd fighting for ABA champion, went on to be a world champion. Oh, yeah. So, and honestly, and I thought, wow, sport can get to people in areas that you can't.
Yeah. Well, that's like pretty much back home. You do have all the boys in the housing commission areas where everyone just, it probably comes back to everyone just looks down on you. Like you tell them what area you're from, stuff like that. It's like examples that Ty Tuivasa. So he was always the biggest, and saying he's from Western Sydney, he'll embrace it. He's probably the first one who's come out and said, I'm from Western Sydney and I'm proud to be out from Western Sydney.
Brilliant.
Where he always wants, he's the fighter. He goes, that's all we do out there. We just fight. But if you went out to Bondi and so they said, where do you live? Western Sydney. Oh, you're from there. They'll put their head down and walk the other way pretty much. So there is a lot of talent out there in Western Sydney. We come from housing commission and stuff like that. We don't have the fancy schools and go through the big ranks, but they know if they come out our ways for a footy game, they're in for a good one.
Well, I'm hoping that when you finally finish, so you're going to be our agents, aren't they? Show me Dave.
Have a look at Penrith. That's why they're going so good. They got that many from out west.
It's true.
So it's good though.
That's fascinating. That. So when you went to West Tigers, did you have to leave home?
No. So my brother got picked up from down Griffith where we swapped. West Tigers is about, I don't know, it wouldn't be far. It would probably be about the same drive, about an hour drive, 45 to an hour, depending on traffic, stuff like that. But, yeah, living with my missus and stuff like that, so it's a young family. We just had to get through it, really, looking after each other. And Andrew ended up coming, where did he go? He might have went into a clubhouse or something like that because he's come from up from there, and it was pretty good. Like, you did have fun with all the boys, and there was a few boys who now we've got some best mates standing in lines at weddings and stuff like that we talk to, and some are back in New Zealand where we go back when we go over there for a game, catch up, some main things, stuff like that. So
it's weird, but things we're going to have Corey. Corey used to get 2 lifts to go to scholarship, and 2 lifts here and 3 lifts.
Oh, yeah.
Went to Wigan at 16 to live,
yeah,
boarding, and I said, you don't realise, do you, how much... No. You probably couldn't do this game unless you've got A, good parents, or pick somebody along your line who's helped you out and done all that crap in it. Because he was saying his granddad took him if his mum couldn't, and I'm like, people realised, and you'll admit this, you're not getting no money here. No. At that age, you're literally not even covering bus fare.
No, not nothing, mate. We're jumping trains on the way to us. That's what I said when we were at Roosters. We were jumping trains and stuff like that. We had the worst car. We'll probably only make it about 10 metres down the road. But when we were jumping trains, and if there was coppers getting on the train or police officers getting on the train, we were just running down the carriage, have to get off, be ringing up, going to be late, mate. Sorry, mate. They was stuck at school and stuff like that. Oh, mate. It was like all these things where you got to consider, and then like you got to run. It's like a track, trying to get to training, getting flogged. So even
it's mentally tough, that, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And how does the pull of the? I'm not saying the streets, but how does the pull of being with your mates on piss, and when does that keep going? Looking at me at 17,
yeah,
I'd have definitely pulled that way. I'd have wanted to go partying and and I wouldn't have been able to come out. How does that line? How did you find that line?
Well, I reckon my wife now. Met her when I was 17, so it was good. To be fair, I was a hoodlum and stuff like that, but I knew what I was doing. I never had a drink of alcohol until my year 12 after party, would have been 18 and a half. I think it was more looking after my brother. He loved to get on the piss and stuff like that. And I used to sit back and enjoy, like, watching all my mates pissed and drunk and shit, do stupid crap. But I was always the babysitter pretty much.
Yeah, I'm one of them, yeah.
But I can remember, like, it was probably one fight where someone's ran up from the side and smacked Andrew down his whole thing. And I've had to come across, and God, it was one-on-one, you leave it, then I just started taking him out, mate. It was just like, and then ever since then, you switch on for like these moments where you need to be sober and just relax and just see what's going on. Not just Andrew, all my mates. Yeah. So we had a tight group growing up, and if we were all in stuff like pretty much like that.
Did I read, Dave? Did I read that one of them like a bikie? On the famous bikie outlaw. We don't understand it here, innit? What is a bikie over there? What's a bikie?
What have you got bikies over here?
No. We'd have Harley. We might have a bike group, but there wouldn't be
a bike is
notorious, say. And I can remember Carl Hall telling me a story about.
Well, I can't say this wrong because it's like.
Don't say it wrong.
It's an organisation, I'll say it like that. Yeah, and it's an organisation, so like they've got, say, I don't know, there's a group back home called the Rebels where it's not just one community, it's like a whole community where it's across Australia, it's in New Zealand, stuff like that, and it's just like they might have areas, so there might be Yorkshire where they all meet and they all like have fun, have beers, pretty much get on like together and stuff like that. Then there might be a Lancashire group,
right?
And then they're all when someone like it's great to see when someone like it doesn't always see good someone that pass away or anything like that. But what they do for funerals is like pack, mate, there'll be over 1,000 motorbikes and stuff like that. So like if you do mess with them, you go through the ranks and stuff like that, and they'll find you and who you are and stuff like that. They're just like that, and it's. remember we had a problem one time with Andrew. We didn't even know someone broke into his house and stuff like that. It took his years and that. And we're real close with one of the leaders. And so we didn't even know. Some random guy come up and goes, I know who's got your stuff. And he's just like, what do you want about? Walking back from training one time, had all his Origin jerseys, stuff like that. When Andrew went home and checked, someone been in the house and he goes, yeah, they're gone. So then he's just rang one phone call to this mate. I won't name for some reason. But he just said, what do you want to do? He goes, I just want my stuff back. And he goes, yeah, but do you want me to get him here so you can flog him? I said, Andrew just said, I'm just going to leave it. You two can do whatever you want, but I just have to, I just want my gear back. Because over there, it's media, it's awful. It's crazy what they do over there. It's exactly what the footballers do here. You know what I mean? If you go to a pub, have a beer, there'll be all media at the front as a footballer. NRL, you do the same thing. They're waiting for you to do one bad move or something like that, you know what I mean? So it's why you enjoy your footy a bit over here more. When you're smiling and that, when you got nothing to worry about, you haven't got media chasing you up and down the sideline.
Yeah, well, and your nightmare is the modern day ones, isn't it? I watched the Melbourne lads at the end of the year, but they're in a private room and whatever. Whether you judge it or what, I'm not judged for anybody, but for somebody to be sat with a phone and doing that, to me, is the lowest. Now, they won't flogging. No, people who are looking to do that, and I think a lot of them, it's usually a friend, or it's like somebody who's sold his soul. You know, you're thinking, oh my, and I don't get it. We actually talk about it with lads. You know, we get together and it's like, right, lads, no clown on social media. You know, switch it off. Yeah, enjoy your sends, have a good crack. We don't want and I get it. The footballers. I mean, some of the stories you hear over here, just. The one the other day, I was reading one other day, he got his house broke into. Yeah. And he'd literally, he were on telly and they'd worked it out his times, you know, and they'd gone in and they know he'd showed a bit of jewellery and I'm like, wow. For everybody dreaming of being that person, imagine. I mean, Ronaldo did one other day and Ronaldo said, I can't go to shops and I can't take my kids to the park. And they went, why can't you take your kids to the park? And he said, because, and I'm not being rude, he said, but within 2 minutes, I'll have 50 people and my wife's terrified for the kids. Yeah. So we have to have security. And when he tells the story, you're like, if only you knew what they go through.
100%. That's like when we're at West Tigers. There's times where you could be going to a gig and Benji Marshall's in prime. I think he's the world's best player at the time. We were at the 20s and stuff like that. So if he went out, we'd have a team dinner. It'd just be smash Benji Marshall. It's everyone coming at Benji Marshall, and then he'll be like, nah, not yet. I'm just having dinner with the boys and stuff like that. And then he'll get fed on the social media and stuff like that. And it'll just come down he's so arrogant, all this, all that. But
can't win, can you?
I think fans don't also realise how much they get pestered like that as well. And when it comes down to that's one thing over there they have actually. They got these, it's great. So NRL put them through these clinics where every NRL club does it. So they put them in actual situations. They have to pay actresses to come to the club and just say, yo, this is actress, I'm me, and I'm sitting having dinner. And you got a mad fan come over. They put them in the scenario. It's really, really good. And Tiarono's the best one. He broke the actor. And that was it. Everyone was cheering and everything like that in our team.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Mate, I think it's one of them, these are the clinics they need to, help these young fellas come through and stuff like that, because when it does come to a time where they're going to face it and, cop all these, they won't know how to handle it, and they'll probably just want to stand up and just start.
Yeah. I can remember one with Danny, and at Leeds used to do it good. They used to put a rope round after the game. Yeah. And then they'd have half an hour. They're tired, but they have to do half an hour. Yeah. But I can remember how rude some people were with his time, and I thought, and I can remember once, getting a bit mad myself, and I said, excuse me, back off. I said, and he'd done everything he could. Yeah. And they didn't even say please. Yeah. It was sign this. And then when he signed one, they pulled another. And I was and I was wow, how rude are you to him? And he's got his kids, he's got his family there. And I was mortified, but then he's oh no, that's what happens. And I'm you must get used to it. But that side of things, not a chance for me, it'd be. Yeah. You do get used to it. It is. I hate refusing people to take a picture or anything like that. But if it's
like been a frustrating day, and I just want to chill with my family and stuff like that, and people come up to you, or if you're halfway through your meal, just like, oh, can I just please finish this and I'll do it again? I'll do it after.
Well, I once waited for you after a game, and you got beat.
Yeah.
And I was looking for you to come past, and I saw you, and I'm like, oh my God, you must have done 40 minutes. And I think Chesney what coached, and I thought Chesney's gonna kill him here because Chesney's like trying to get everybody in change rooms, and I can see you. But the fans were electric for you because they're all waiting for you. They knew you were going to do it, and you spent that much time, and that, to be fair, leads to it. A lot of other clubs make the players do it now.
It does hurt, like losing the game and everything, but they're just as hurting as much. So if they went through the pain watching us lose, then you got to give back something to them and stuff like that. That's how I see it.
You're spending 2 minutes with a young lad or a family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they show the pride and joy in singing and everything, my name and in the game and stuff like that, and it just feels like when we lose, I disappoint them. So I've just always shaking my head walking down there if I lost. But if I'm winning, I'm up dancing with them and everything, so it's good. Yeah.
So let's go back to. So we've got to West Tigers with Roosters. When do we end up at Cronulla?
I ended up going back to playing New South Wales Cup for a few years with our main Premier League, like just playing New South Wales Cup. From then, I just lost the love for the game, pretty much. I had enough of it. I just pretty much told me missus, I said, I can't do it. I can't keep working, trying to provide for a young family and that. Like getting up at 5 a.m, driving trucks, delivering plasterboard to every house and stuff like that. And then going to training at 5 in the Arvo, stuff like that. I said, I just can't do it. I'd rather play local league with my mates and enjoy just going back to work and stuff like that. So I ended up throwing it in, and I had a message from one of my assistant coaches I had at Balmain to go over to France. He said, I've got a gig for you. They'll give you a car, they'll give you a house. Come play for Lesignon.
I never knew this. You're telling me, I think I did know what you tell me.
And then I ended up saying yes. I said, told my wife, and I said, let's just go travel. I said, we've never been to France, we've never done this, might as well. So then I ended up going over there, and it was good. Like my coach was the coach of France, Aurelien Colony or something. But he's a decent coach and very aggressive at some of the things if you're not playing well and stuff. But pretty much went there and had this season of my life. Like just found the love for the game and everything again. You know what I mean? Like once you go through like rep footy and just coming down. Also, when your brother's like on a high at the same time, and everyone's just asking you what's going on, how come, mate, you were better than your brother, or like you're exactly the same people and stuff like that.
My brother's that same thing with me, Dave.
Yeah. So you just had enough, and I just said, let's go. I prefer to travel anyway. One goal in life is I want to show my family the world, and if I do that, then I've done my job pretty much. So we went to France, done a season. I think we lost again in the grand final to, I don't know, someone with a stacked. I think it might have been Catalan actually, the Fifita club team. I don't know. It's Saint Steve or I don't know, whatever their team's called. So we lost on the bell, which was heartbreaking how we lost. But I enjoyed every moment of that year because I just found the love for the game, and they only play from September through to May. So we got to go home, and I still got to go home and play with my mates.
Wow. The
day I landed, I had Melbourne Storm waiting for me. I didn't know none of this. It just landed, and they said, we're going to go to a meeting. And I said, who are you? It's just like this. And
my God.
And I've been meeting a manager.
Who would that be with? Paul Bunn?
No. I forgot his name. He's still there now.
Frank?
Yeah, Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
He was there. So there was an under-18s where they all go, every NRL club goes and watches. It was like a schoolboys tournament. And he just said, we've got a meeting there. So I didn't even have a shower and everything off the plane. And then I met Andrew there. He was watching, he was with Flanner, watching Kyle Flanagan play. I think it might have been under 17s, 18s, something. Anyways, he said, my coach wants to talk to you first before you go to this meeting. And I'm like, oh, all right. Sweet. So I walked over to Flanner, and then he just introduced himself and just said, listen here, mate, I know you just got off the plane. I know you made Team of the Year in that French comp. You do have something about you, and I want to get it out of you.
Wow.
if you want a job on Monday, come see me. Shook my hand and stuff like that. And I said, geez, man, much appreciated. But I also will have a look at what's going on over here. Melbourne done the exact same thing. Sat me down. He goes, we love what you're doing. Andrew's playing great footy. And if there's something so special about him where everyone can touch him or what's going on with him, we want the same in you. So we want you to, they flew me down that, I think it was 2 days later, they flew me to Melbourne, showed me the whole facilities. It's incredible. Like, mate, it's immaculate.
I was supposed to last year, I never met it. I'd love to go and see it.
Mate, their gyms, everything, aquatic centres under their stadium. It's even the family room. Like during game, they've got like a buffet. Mate, all the kids, like kids pen from like toddlers playing in like a pen there with all the kids being able to play PlayStation, stuff like that.
That's
And it was good because that weekend Andrew was playing Melbourne away down there. So it was a bit weird, me like saying hello to Andrew and all that, and Flano and all that down there. And I'm standing in the Melbourne Storm dressing room just watching all the boys go out and stuff like that. That's how much they like wanted me. And I felt like, what's going on? I've just got off the plane. I've talked to Lesignong and I said, mate, I'm happy to do it again next year. We'll talk when I get home. So
but Melbourne are in now.
Yeah, mate, that's what I said. And he's like, but you agree you want to come back, stuff like that. And I'm like, but NRL clubs are wanting me for some reason. And then I spoke to my wife about it and stuff, and she reckons it would have been too hard if we all just packed up, went down to Melbourne, considering we just got back from France. And because we're like a real family-oriented family, we just wanted to stay around home. And then there's always that dream of playing on the same field with my brother. So I spoke to Flano, and I said, I'll take you up on that deal and I'll see you the following Monday. So he gave me a run and ended up playing in the Cup grand final that year. We played in New South Wales Cup. Had a stacked team, played with boys like Junior Moores. Junior Moores was playing in that team. We had Brett Finch, you had Ben Roberts. We just had a complete stacked team of half Melbourne players and half Cronulla Sharks players. So we went through the whole comp. I think we even won the grand final in 13, might have been 40-odd to 10 or something. So it was good, and that's how I got to Sharks, really.
So you went from, did you sign professional terms with Melbourne?
Pardon?
Did you sign with Melbourne?
Oh, no.
So that's for Cronulla?
Yeah.
I've got you. So Melbourne come, then Cronulla come.
Yeah.
You've got it. So then you've been with Cronulla there, and I thought when you said Benny Roberts, he was at Melbourne.
That's what I mean.
Junior at Melbourne.
In 2012 or 13, they formed, because a reserve grade over there, so that Melbourne, because they're not in New South Wales, half their squad will go to Queensland Cup and half their squad will go to New South Wales Cup.
Right.
And since bigger clubs had like enough players to feed them all, similar so we just went half a squad of Cronulla players and half a squad of Melbourne.
Right, got
so
you.
they had a whole right edge from half to winger.
Yeah.
Cronulla had a whole left edge full from half to winger, and we just mixed all the forwards up.
Got you.
So it was really good how they did it, but it was unfair.
I think Dave, how old would you have been then?
23, 4.
Yeah, because I can remember probably my first time of watching the NRL, and I can remember seeing an interview with you and your brother. It was the first time I'd seen you. I couldn't believe sizes, and you were bantering with each other.
Yeah.
I can't remember it well.
They do enjoy it, yeah.
You'd have been 24, 25 then, would you have been?
So it would have been 24, I reckon. 24. It was the first year where they hyped us up, and they love all the social media because me and him just pretty much beat twins, just laughing.
Yeah.
We just knew everything
That's
about
it,
each
come
other.
across.
So they did thrive on it, like footy show and all that. They enjoyed it.
You were laughing at each other. You kept laughing at it.
Yeah. So we ended up just doing a lot of gigs with the footy show because they enjoyed the banter between me and him and stuff. So it was good.
And how many appearances did you get for Cronulla?
Not many. 17.
17. Over a period of
3 years. First year I was out with navicular, so I couldn't. I mean, that would have been the year I debuted, I think it was, and then I just went out, just nearly a full season with navicular. So I had a broken foot, couldn't play. Following year, played most of all the year until we got in a bit of drama, if you want to call it that. It was just bullshit, that. I don't know, I've never come out and said anything for it. But for what I did, they've looked at us both together and just made it all about me and him, like as a group. So it was my first, not even a first chance. Like I did the right thing. So I can't say anything about like the junior referee and everything like that, but the way he spoke to me and stuff like that, he's right police officer, and you can only imagine how they talk to people. So it was just bizarre how much I went through that. And from my former manager said you have to accept it because me and him were on the front of every news over home, like we've murdered someone. That's how bad it was. We're beating murderers to 6 p.m. news. To feel Fifita twins are in trouble doing this, doing that.
Because that what you just said there, it's a weird one because when I first saw you and then did a bit of like you do, you follow you and watch you and that were coming across weirdly that we were getting that fed back. Oh, they're an handful. These two, they're always into a bit of trouble and you know they're hard to manage.
Yeah,
coaches are a bit weary of them because they don't put it in enough. They don't this and then. That was definitely a build-up because I can remember when I first met you, which we'll roll on to, but I had that perception a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember sat there thinking, he'll be an handful, this lad. And as you're looking, and I was like, wow. So, and I've said this to you before, I find myself defending you too much, and I'm sick of it. I actually said the other day to somebody, mate, you've got to be kidding. Sorry, you've got to be kidding. I said, he's the nicest lad, he's gentle. I said, his family, you mentioned your wife a lot there, and you know, you together, you're 17-year-old, you're probably the opposite of what they try and portray. You know what I mean? Which is bizarre, isn't it? Because I've seen you with kids and it's amazing, and I'm looking at you know, your dad, and then I'm thinking, and then a little bit when we've had problems or you've rang me and said, look, this is happening, we sort it within like 2 minutes. It's like not even a problem, it's like just a little bit of this, and I'm thinking, it's just not a problem. And I once asked Bish about you, said to Bish, he said, no, Dave only sticks up for the lads. He said, he'll only, time you'll hear him moan is if anybody takes a liberty where lads, something's happening to a lad or he don't feel this is right, he will say something within a group. They say it's usually in defence of the group. It's not to attack somebody, it's usually in defence of what the group, and I suppose in 10 people might moan at you each hour. If you dare go up and say, look, mate, have a look at this, we need this bit better, then you're the fall guy in a way, which he shouldn't be, should he? So, but I remember Bish spoke so high of you as a person. They were like, mate, he's brilliant. He's like, so you've that's happened. So that's I can sometimes make sense. You've just said that happened. Sometimes I see you're a bit quiet, and when we talk, I think
it goes on about that now. Like I help out. They call me coach and stuff like that, but I like to help out. I've got an open age group, Criggleston All Blacks, so I help them out and. Mate, some of the stuff, I just sit back and just laugh. Like, some of the rugby over here is just hilarious to watch. And I love watching it. I love to get out of the game and stuff like that and help my local community, stuff like that. But this just goes undercover, really. And I just love to get away from, like, the professional side and go back and have the banner.
Have a beer and laugh.
Banner with the boys and... It's just great. You just feed them, mate. They all give it to me. And I give it back to them. So it's great. You know what I mean? They just see me as one of them, like as a coach or one of the boys. So it's really good to get back and help them.
We've asked players who've won 9 grand finals like Danny and all this, and they don't remember anything apart from banter with lads. Like you said, Danny the other day? What did you miss? It's just that changing room. Something. And it's weird, isn't it? You can have every Ferrari. I said the other day. What success of a player? Is it grand finals? Is it £1 million in bank? And I think they're both wrong. I think the success is that you've had a good time. You know, because at 35, 36, 37, it's going to end.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, if you've had a good journey, met some good friends, you could, like you said, you can travel around the world and meet somebody there and meet somebody there.
Well, that's it.
I don't think the money and the trophy is going to mean... I've never heard anybody say it, to be honest. It's weird how people say, when you're focused, they go, you've got to win this, you've got to win that, you've got to win this. And I'm like, yeah, but part of the success, I know I played football, played me tennis, played me sport. I miss it. I actually said the other day to our Joe, do you think I could make a comeback at football at 51? And he's laughing. He goes, Dad, go out crazy enough. I said, I actually miss it, Joe. I miss just running on a field.
Yeah.
And at my standard, there were 3 dogs. You know what I mean? You do Ronaldo, there'd be a dog shitting in. There were nobody there.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, you still got the same buzz and that. And sat with lads in changing rooms and knowing that you're looking at each other, laughing at you. I said this the other day. I don't know if it happens in Sam and Mick might, say, but I gets in the car the other day to take Minzy. And I hope Minty don't mind me saying it. And Sam Alice to Newcastle pre-season to meet him. We went down. And it's first time I've probably been in that environment for a bit, 3 lads in car, and I just see Minty smile. And and he brought it back 20 years.
Yeah.
I knew he'd farted. I knew he'd farted. So as I looked to my left, I went, and he's got the grin. His grin's getting bigger, knowing what's coming. And when it hit me, I'm not kidding you, I went, and I've gipped, and and he's got tears coming down his face.
It's
and
just,
Sam's
mate,
it
some
back.
Some of that easy we just set you off.
He does, honestly, Sam's it back, and he's gipping, but laughing. And so I saw Minty smile again, and I went, he was smiling because he knew we had another one. Do you know what I mean? He thought, if that's got you, wait till this one comes out.
Mate,
and
it's coming again.
I've ended up pulling over. And then afterwards I drove and I go, you know what, lads, I've missed that. I've not belly laughed for a long time. I said, you know what change rooms are like, haven't they? You can just see, it can be a crap pair of pants, can't it? Some of his new boxers, it can be a bad tattoo, it can be a fat. That's the little bits that you love, innit?
Mate, there's just... You can't say it doesn't go outside the change room too for some of the stories as well, and it's some of the shit what goes on in the change room. It's great. It's hilarious, mate. You wouldn't believe it, but then when you're about 10 years, say when you're 40, 45, you're going back and you're trying to tell someone this story, you're just like, oh mate, it was great days. I do try and get it sometimes, on my social media. It's pretty funny sometimes. It's just simple stuff like one of the boys snatching their last bite and stuff. I got one today. It was great. So I have a look, but if he just grabs his last bite, it's when you have a little piece of feed and you make that last bite the best bit, and someone just comes and takes it. The look on their face is just
ready.
Mate, it'll fire me up. I'm probably ready to punch on. Jesus, it's the funniest thing you ever see, but it's just little things like that.
It is, isn't it?
And then also when you've created that bond over the whole pre-season, and then they make that debut or the club debut. So all the pain they went through and everything to get there, and then and it's a proud day. So every time someone makes their debut, or if there's an achievement, mate, I'll be the first one with a beer and say, let's go have a beer. Come on, mate.
Yeah.
Here's a beer for you.
We had our assistant coach at a club, and I used to love the banter with the coach. The coach, our coach, was quite funny. And I'd always wondered how he got away without not getting challenged. And he, because he'd sit there and he'd say, and he'd put it on players, and he'd say, if any of them got out to say, don't be telling your wives, don't be telling your friends, come and see me. But he was about 4'2", and he'd say, come and see me, I'm next door. So as I'm assistant, I go next door when he says it, and there are some rough lads in that changing room. And he just closed down, he went, they never come. I went, what do you mean? He goes, I've been doing it 25 years, no one ever come. He said, and I realised, players, it were to him, I always thought he was serious. He wasn't, it was his way of motivating.
Yeah.
But he said, they never come next door. And he said, they'll have a little bit of a moan. He said, but you got. And I thought, how clever it was, how he did it, how he gelled it. Wow, we did, so you're at Cronulla. How did that go from Cronulla to Wakey? Because this is what most people want to know. How does a player like you, when you're over there, you've got your 3-year deal. Yeah. You're not getting many games to injury, whatever. You've had a bit of a thing that's happened to you.
I was in that rut where you're in this week, or you're not, you're 18th man this week. So there was games where you'd play a few weeks and then you would say you're 18th man this week, just have a rest, do this, do that. So then I'd be travelling from me New South Wales Cup game, because I didn't like to have a game off. And then I'll have to drive all the way down somewhere, probably Canberra or somewhere, just to be with the boys and be ready to fire and get on that field and just run 18th man pretty much over there. So I'm just there to support the boys and kept my head on all that. But then I just knew it was time, to get out. My brother was killing it. I couldn't get out, get me spot over there and stuff like that. So I just said, if there's an opportunity overseas, then I'll be happy to take it. And Chris Chester called me pretty much, and then it was me and him talking a lot. And he goes, we'll try to figure it out. If you're eligible to come over, I'll have you.
Who's that?
Chris Chester.
Oh, right,
so
Chester, yeah.
He pretty much, he did it all in one night, and he rang me the next day. He goes, Dave, you can get over here. Mate, it has to be soon. And I said, well, yeah, I'll be on the next flight if you can get me on. And then we sorted it out, done everything, and and also my older brother was here as well. So, and he was going through some crap with his like just missing home and stuff like that. So I just thought if I get over there, I can be his home and stuff like that. And we'll just all work together over there.
Wow.
End up coming over and just, Jesus, it was a work to your first game, really.
Did when you came over, a lot of overseas players, first thing they say is the crowd. They say they've never heard crowd as vocal. Were you ready to come to? Did you know what did you know about our game? What did you know about our game?
Playing like cup, there was like boys coming back from Super League, and they were saying, "Mate, it's so quiet. It's like it is dead." Mate, before I come over, I knew there was some singing and stuff like that. I didn't know how loud it actually was when I first got over here. And for lucky, my first game was a derby match against Leeds, so it was a packed Wakefield Stadium and everything like that. But I knew it would have went up and down for me because I had a build up to it. Never done anything like that to get ready for a game. So I pretty much flew to Wales, Amsterdam, and in and out on the day, and then I had to drive down to Cardiff, come back up and pretty much take the field, and I was just like, I'm exhausted, I can't do this. But I still played, and I pretty much had a shocker. Like I think I got sent off for 10, which was all right in my eyes, but I ended up getting sent off for 10 and had some fun, but that next week we just said, let's go. Scratch the first week, we're on. Ended up getting man of the match for Huddersfield, I think it was, Challenge Cup. Made top 4.
Wow.
So it was good.
If you're in Australia, we debate over here, Dave, how if you can't make it in NRL, you come here. And I sometimes find that really offensive because there can be different reasons why people come here. And some of the best players we've had have not come over here just because they can't get a gig in I watched Danny Benares and his Pommy just finished Origin. I watched, hundreds. Alatiti when he come on, I think how old would you have been? 26, 27?
Come over here? Yeah, 26.
Yeah, I can remember Ali coming 21 and making his debut at Leeds and you couldn't believe it. We're like watching a superstar in action. So it kills me. We've had Jamie, we could go through it. We've had some fun. There's
a lot of boys over there, I reckon, who would go all right, but they just can't qualify. There's just reasons behind it and stuff like that.
Yeah. But do they want to come? Do they want to come here for the right reasons?
Exactly.
Dave? If you sat with lads.
Well, that's what I think. They tossed up a few players. Like when, I got on with Chris Chester a lot. Like we talk about different players who was coming over and stuff like that. I think we've seen it too many times. Like you get the bigger name players that then towards the end of the career will come over and just pretty much go downhill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't suit the game. It's the type of player. I always say it in my eyes, if it's the type of player who would suit the game, who's wanting to be here, you know what I mean, trying to make a name for themselves and stuff like that.
Well, Willie Mason would be a superstar in Oz, but when we saw Willie over here, we didn't see Willie Mason, did we?
No.
Whereas you mentioned your name here, and I suppose in NRL you won't be as well known, but here everyone's like, oh yeah, the bought Fifita, unbelievable. Whereas Willie would be revered there, but over here you wouldn't have a...
Yeah. Well, that's what I put. Andrew made his mark pretty much over in NRL like nothing. He was playing great footy, but when I come over, and he cost me a ring, really. They won the grand final the year I come over. But I wouldn't change it. I've enjoyed my time.
Did you come over with your family or on your own?
I come over on my own for the first few weeks.
And is it true, Dave, I'm going to ask you a question. Mrs. Fifita, I'm sorry about this. When the lads are over without the missus, this is how we perceive it. The lads are over and they have best 8 week of their lives, they put this in round town. Then the boss comes and they go, and they suddenly you don't see them out for next. Is this a myth, Dave? Is it true?
Yeah, it's a myth, that. Lucky I was living with Anthony Tupou. He's the one who pretty much sold me the dream to get over here. He was playing here at the time, and he opened his house for me and my family when they end up coming, but he pretty much said, nah, we're not going out, pulling us in. And I think after we won the Huddersfield game, the cup, where I didn't know the real meaning of a Challenge Cup, and they said, we just got a big game this week. We've got quarters, and if we win this, we're going to the semi-finals. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, well, I need to play. It's my second game in, and I can't let the boys down after what I put up in the first game. So it was just, went into that, and we ended up winning. And I think everyone's seen who I was and what type of player I was and stuff like that after that game. And we went out after that because apparently it was a real big win. I'm like, yeah, I get it was a cup game, but I still don't know the meaning of the whole cup and everything.
Yeah.
But everyone's just grabbing you in the club. And you're like, what's going on? All right, yeah, mate, I'm all right. You're good, leave me alone. So it is a bit like that, but it's just, yeah, a bit of ego.
We've actually done a show before this, Dave, and talked about how we're hoping the Challenge Cup had lost its magic because we were brought up on it. We were, to us, it's FA Cup, the Challenge Cup, it's as big as the league.
Yeah.
You know, if you got to a Challenge Cup final, it's probably as big as winning a grand final to us, but it's probably weakened in the last 5 to 10 years, and they're saying, you know, Mick sometimes a bit negative, I had to tell him off, but I'm saying that in a nice way, but he's like, oh, you know, there's only 17,000 for Saturday. I said, well, I'll try and get 25,000 by time there, but I hope it doesn't, because we've got something special. That's what, no offence to NRL or the others, they don't have something like that. And I've got top players. Yeah. And I said, what's your best memory? And they go, Challenge Cup, thingy, best moment in my life.
I think, I agree. Like now, for the years we've been in it, it does hurt. I think this year where it just hurt me a lot when I couldn't be out there with the boys, helping them out.
Means a lot to you, that, doesn't it? Because you did.
Now a couple.
People are going to watch this. I hope that you did a Boxing Day, and I was sat there, and I says to you, "You're playing," and you went, "Yeah, mate, I need to play. A lot of youngsters here. I'm not letting them go Leeds." And I was like, "I wish people could." You said that. I think I said it to you, and you wanted to play because you weren't prepared to let them young lads go out and get a mash, were you?
There was too many COVID and stuff like that. COVID, no, I said, "Oh, we're taking it."
And I think last week you come back from an injury pretty quick, and I can remember speaking to you. You said again, you used that word. You went, "Mate, we've lost some games. Probably need to get back and help the boys." And again, from the outside, you know, people need to see this.
Yeah.
They need to see that it does mean so much to players. And you know, you've looking at your story there, you've come all the way. You've come all the way here, and I think and I'll say it out there. You test me. I think you've been the best overseas signing ever. Now, I'm biased. Bob, because you're my mate. But I genuinely do think I'd like to test people, and that's Sam will do something on that. Who is the best overseas signing? Because you didn't. No offence to Wakey, and I'm being honest. It's not. You haven't come and gone to St Helens and gone, here we go, Leeds Rhinos, 4 grand finals. You've gone to Wakey and been in a franchise which has been exciting, but your charisma, your play, where everybody's aware. I thought you were 2 years ago, we had that season where no one could touch you. You're making them 50-yard breaks, and I was like, this is just crazy. It's like a bopper show. It should have had its own show. And I'm like, I don't think you've had the praise that you deserve, and I don't think people within the game, again, probably because certain whispers and people saying, oh yeah, he's, and I've always gone, wow, it's I wish, and that's why we do things like this, to be honest. So people go, I can't believe how humble he is and how much you think. Because Dave, we know, and I can say this now, 2 years ago, we had talks with a few clubs, and I were getting the big offers. You could have definitely gone for more money. We sat and we talked, and it was about a 6-week period, and you had such, I think, I'm not going to say love because it is love, but you had such a loyalty, I think, to people at Wakey, and fans, Michael, and everybody involved at the club, Chesney, whoever it is. And that's what I think, because I was like, if I'll be honest, my job's to say to you, you've got to look at this, you've got to, you know, that's, and you didn't. I can remember sat there listening to you thinking, I probably knew you weren't going to move after about, I was thinking, we're going to go through all this, and Bopper's going to go, yeah, Craig, I think I think you feel at home there. And there's a bit of something there that people don't see from outside. By the way, if we leave next year, it's been great. No.
It's been an experience. We've had a lot of ups, some downs, but more ups really. We've just had a great career there. We've had the same pretty much imports. We've had a great core of the group. You've got your blokes like Jacob Miller, Tiarona. Like on your import sides, Bill Tupou have been there since day dot.
Yeah, true, yeah.
But then you got your English boys who've been there as well, as like Matty Ashurst. You got Tom Johnston, Reece Lynn. They've all been there. Max Jow, Geordie. They've all come through the same. So they've kept the same squad, and we've all had the same belief in everything. And I just showed the belief in the boys because I knew we could do something great. And the year we were having in 19 was great, but then it was just injury after injury after injury, and we're just trying to get every player back on the field, and it was just so hard to get back everyone. It wasn't, and there weren't like hamstrings or anything like that. It was more like breaking bones and stuff, so you can't really do anything about it. But just the core of the group and kids, how settled the kids were in schools and how Mrs. liked her crew away from footy as well, like the girls in the club and stuff. It felt like we've just had to stay there.
And good on Wakey for that, by the way. You've just said something there. Some clubs can't keep overseas players for a long time because they're not willing to, do the little things. Wakey must have done something right because a lot of your overseas players have stayed there.
Yeah, I do.
And it's probably because because of that you eat each other and you get that bond.
Yeah.
I know Bish, and again, Wakey, we try and be honest and have a laugh, but I can remember Bish ringing me and he's in stitches one day. I said, all right, Bish, and he went, cold showers. And I said, what do you mean? He went, we've got cold showers. And I'm like, and I can't laugh, and he's like, finished training and showers are cold. He goes, and all the boys are like, it's normal to them. And Bish is sat freezing, he like going, this is idiot. But to you, I think the rest of you were like, yeah, Bish, we've had this for like a year, it don't matter.
I remember day one walking into the sheds, or like walking in the field, I've just looked at Toops and I said, you're good here, mate. You're good here. And then I just started laughing. We've had a laugh. He goes, I need you here, Dave, please, I need you. And I started laughing. I said, nah, it's fine. Walked in the sheds and that, and I've just said, what have I done? You've gone from like the NRL, like full facilities, like off the range, pretty much like a football facilities over here and stuff. And I've come to this, but I wouldn't change it. I've grown to love me, and I always loved things the hard way out, you know what I mean? There was times that for like early in my contract, like I had an option that very second year I come over, and I had a few bigger clubs to offer me, and they will say, we'll give you the same money. I said, well, there's no point in going to you when I can just stay with Wakefield, and this is what I call home. And they had the belief and faith in me to get me over here in the first place, and that's what I wanted to repay them, really.
Yeah, I've said that when we've been in with Michael and we've been in with Ches, and now it's Willie and Franny. It's a different journey, but it's I want to get. Where would the perception? So if you go back home at end of year and you go and see your family, you go and see your friends, do they see any of this? Do they know that you'd be quite a big star over here? Would they? Do they watch any of that? Because the reason I'm asking,
there's not much.
Darryl Powell went to see Melbourne a couple of years ago, and it was the year that casted the 17th at the end of the year, and he'd had a conversation. And Bellingham must have seen him because he knew him a little bit. Hi Darryl, how you doing? And Darryl's like, he thought he would say, I've had a good year, I've heard. And Darryl goes, oh yeah, he didn't have a clue. Like, he's like, oh, you're at Cass, didn't really understand what the comp and I were like. When you go back, would they say Wakey, would they watch any games?
I think the real rugby league fans would probably watch a few games. They love getting, like, at night, if they're all in the pubs, the ones who are in there late and it comes on, that's where they see, like, the Super League. There's a footy game on soon, everyone's watching it and stuff like that, but there's not much, sadly.
Is it an area we could grow, Dave, over there? How would we grow it from us, trying to say to Aussies, you love rugby league, you've got your rugby league, we watch, I'd say out of our 300,000 people who watch rugby league in this country, 100,000 watch all the NRL games.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we reverse that?
Playing at a better time, probably first thing. I think our games over there now, are probably around midnight, where in the winter. So if we played at 8 o'clock at night, it'll be on at 7 in the morning over there.
I've got you.
That's in Sydney, and everyone's waking up and then they'll be watching it. 12 o'clock kick-off here. Yeah.
What would that be?
It'd be 9 o'clock at night.
And that'd be
you know what I mean, on a Saturday night. So them 12 o'clock games now, they'll probably work handy for. They're all on the piss, probably having a punt or something like that, and they'll be just want to sit there after their losses, and then they want to watch footy, and then someone's bashing someone. They're like, "Oh, this is great! Put it on, turn it up."
I can't believe we just done at this moment. So I've never realised now. I can't believe what you're saying. So we watch the NRL in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's how we've got used to doing it, getting up and making sure we go to it. What we're saying, the role reverse really, to get us over there, it'd be try and get on a time here.
In the winter, pretty much our 8 o'clock games at night is like 5 in the morning for them, so no one's waking up at that time.
We could pick a lot, if we did that and they did watch it, we'd pick up a lot of views and a lot more understanding.
You probably would, because Australia's it's like rugby league first. You know what I mean? Their priority is rugby league or the AFL. Where over here it's all football. Football. Where I think if you went back to Australia, I think for soccer it's all about the English Premier League. Yeah. So that's if someone said soccer over home, they're just talking about your Chelsea's, Man United, all them type of the bigger clubs.
Yeah.
But with rugby league, it's just like you probably get St Helens because they've just been over there. Probably the last ones to go over a few times, but not really anything else.
It's weird, that, isn't it? You're right there. We need to. Because if our core market is here, but our second core market of rugby league lovers would be Australia, New Zealand.
That's it.
We're probably doing nothing over there to enhance our game.
Well, the difference is if you look at it, Channel 9 and say your Fox League, all the social media they do, they put around promoting. So they're like, well, we've just got Betfred. We had like 3 people go there. They do a little thing at the start of the season where NRL, they do the whole flyer. They got everything, mate. It's nuts, the social media over there.
We've said some, haven't we? We've just said that.
To get to these kids, like the newest thing is all about TikTok, all about Instagram, Twitter, mate. Because I know Australia's, I think they're more Instagram, TikTok first, then Twitter.
Yeah.
Where over here, I never had Twitter until I got over here.
Yeah.
And I was more Instagram. So I think it's, with these days, kids are just glued to their phones and everything. It's going to be all about.
Well, my daughter's just gone into soccer because she watched a gaming competition and they had the Premier League footballers on it.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like, wow, they're good-looking lads, bang. Suddenly she's telling me he's done a bad run. I want tickets to Man U, Dad. And I'm like, where's that, Steph? All my life I've been waiting for her to come football with me or rugby. And she's like, loving it. And I went, we've talked earlier on the show, we need to do something like that. We need to get 5 top players through the gaming live, get them at it. But the Australia angle intrigues me. Why I
think there just needs to be a lot more, like with Super League promoting the game a lot more, rather than
we just said the Challenge Cup content this week, Dave.
Mate, there's nothing,
Nothing.
Nothing.
And Mick said there's only 17,000, and he's also said that they're struggling with corporate, they're struggling with this, and I'm like, wow, but we've not seen anything, have we?
And it's not like you got your, maybe, I don't know, Huddersfield who aren't the biggest fan base and stuff, but this is the first time in a long time where they've made something so high.
I agree.
But then the other 3 teams are pretty big teams. Hockey are pretty big now, and then you got your St Helens and Wigan. Really, them two, they're alone should pack the stadium.
100%.
So,
and even as a content to New Zealand, Australia, Tonga, why are we not booming this in there and saying, right, we're going to get 200,000 people watching this in Tonga?
It's exactly right, but and one thing at the end of the year, what no one's heard of is the World Cup. Like, it's not out there on billboards and stuff like that. They did a thing the other day that the trophy's going on the road show, but mate, they only do it pretty much on a game day where they might post one photo, mate. You just need to put a lot of money in social media and just keep doing it.
Honestly, I'd have Ellery and I'd have 2 of them and I'd take them all around the world. I'd say Tonga, pay for trip, 20,000.
Yeah.
Take him to Australia where he's still a legend.
Yeah.
Take him to Sydney, take him to Melbourne, take him on a road show to Tonga, take him to New Zealand, take him to Fiji and go bang. Please watch our game. These are the things, and get 2 or 3 of them to go on a road show. Yeah. I saw Steve-O did one years ago. He was talking about in Australia where they used to do like a rugby league train, and his job was to get pissed and talk about rugby.
Going forward with this All-Stars and stuff like that, why don't you take the England games over there? That All-Stars versus England, you can promote how good like some of these boys are, and plus the English boys over there, and they probably can get. Idea. You know what I mean? And then even if you want to see how good the English boys go, making an English team with the NRL. Meet halfway and run the show.
That's unbelievable. I'm
sure they'll show it all off.
They should have played, and it'll come down to money again. But actually, this is where they go wrong for me. You get some rich people in our game; they'd sponsor that tomorrow.
100%.
You're not telling me, certain people. I'm not meant to put pressure, but if you said, "Look, we need $100,000 budget to take the team here to play in Dubai against the Australian Exiles, we're going to put a 20,000 stadium."
Yeah,
they would sponsor that tomorrow because I spoke to him before about it. We've been trying to get our origin game here for years, and we've been saying it, and I think there would be enough people back in. So, back to Wakey, Dave, and I wanted to ask you about we got some feedback on Corey. Tell us Tell us what you see. You know, you look at your leg speed, and I've always tried to understand you. Your leg speed, your agility, your hands, you've got to fend. So you've got probably all the skills because you've started as a back. I'm quite... You have to be pretty tough to play rugby league anyway, or crackers. Either way, you've got to be... So I look at that. I see a lot of forwards nowadays. They don't offload. They don't tip pre-line tip. They don't... You said something earlier on when you said, I got a ball and I go... And you're looking for a weak defender or something you can... Is it too much of just one up and head for big man and have that battle without having somebody like you who's different?
Yeah, pretty much. What I tell all these young fellas, like with myself, it's different coming up. A lot of clubs, a lot of clubs ask, even Wakefield, like, you need to get these young props and build a future. I said I can give them as much as I know, and then I said it's a bit different because I come through a different route. So making 20s as a centre, so I've always been known to play on that left centre, bounce overs, and just get that 2v1, draw him past, give it to a fast winger, let him take off. So I'll always make sure I'm committing that winger to come in and just flick it straight to me. I always beat that centre no matter what, because I always had a decent fend, you know what I mean? Once he's on the side and he knows I've got him, he'll come and I'll just flick it to a fast winger, he'll take off. But using it now, like, I use my footwork going into... I would never be a normal prop. I couldn't just give me the ball and running dead straight at like them. I'll run over them. I might be one of the biggest in the comp, but I bet you don't find me running just like straight up the middle because I'm not that stupid. Like with myself, I do have a look where I'm going. I do have a look.
So you play nice
who's
up.
in front.
Play nice up.
Exactly. So I couldn't tell you going into a game what I'm going to do. Like, yeah, I can roll the sleeves up and just say I'm running straight and hard, and that's all I'm doing all game. But if I get the ball and I see an opportunity on the left or the right, that's where I'm going. I don't care who's in front. I'll just get there and I'll have a crack at him. So every captain's run, I'm always watching everyone's highlights. We always put on like everyone's weaknesses, who's missing tackles the most, how they tackle. I look for it all. I look for everyone who legs tackles. I make sure I get all them legs tackles because if they legs tackle, I can just get down, up, throw me offload, anything like that. So it depends where we are on the field and stuff. So when you're backed up against the wall and you're trying to get out, where our backs are just getting ambush, and you know, all right, you have to stand up. This is you. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go. And then they're all lined up and you're like, well, this is a no-brainer, right? So that's when I do scan, and if I see something where if I know I can throw him and then I've got a little hooker trying to stop me finding my front, they won't do it. So I do have a look, and I've always had this theory where 0 to 60, I'll do just try run straight. I'd say try because it rarely happens, but I'll try to get to a spot, help the boys, I'll do it for the team. But from 40 to the try line, even though I don't know what I'm doing, that's it. So that's where I just come alive if any drop balls but then I think we always get like a tap in the middle, or if we get a penalty, they'd be saying, Dave, get to that right post. And I'll say, gotcha. I start going to the right post and this side's not moving up. I'm going back to these boys over here, and then I will have a crack. It's just the character I am and the person I like being, and I'm sure every fan will probably back me to say, let him do what he wants, let him just have a crack.
I love it.
And then we'll just get back to the point and then we'll have a crack. So,
what about the defensive side? Because if I challenge you and said, right, Dave, what's your most important thing? You'd say attack and then defensive. But I actually think, and I'm going to challenge you, I think you've got better as you've got older and having more energy, or you've got cleverer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got cleverer or you've got... Because I remember Bish, again, I'm using Bish. I said to Bish, kick when he'd done on 2-on-1s.
Yeah.
So I said, shows you footage, we'll go through it, and we're having a bit of crack. We're tracing it back, Danny Brough, we've traced it back, and then I said, God, they've got a lot of numbers under post. They went, yeah, because Dave's there. Now, what do you mean? He goes, Dave's got biggest voice. He goes, he'll make sure. So we were in stitches. We were like, Dave. So I said, what, because Dave's cleverer than you? Like, they went, yeah, he's already called the shot and he'll bet. And so we were in hysterics. But I watched you, and I'm going to challenge you. Have you worked on that?
On the defense?
You look like you've worked on your D.
Nah, well, it's always been there. Like, it's one thing I do worry about it sometimes, but it's one thing I don't focus on entirely. I know everyone sees me as like, mate, he's attack. He's
wrecking ball,
right up there. He's more of an attacking player than defensive. And that's how I honestly look at other players and say, he's a defender. He's a defender.
Yeah.
He's not an attacker. Like, there's them type of players where they're going to come through and, mate, he's attacking. Don't worry, mate. It's like Kleppy. Mate, he can hit. He can use it. He knows how to shoulder charge. He knows how to hit. The hardest hitter, you'll never run straight at him.
Yeah.
But is he using too much energy in defence? Then you're losing it in attack, you know what I mean? It's the balance you have to find. And I told him, I said, mate, you got where you are being in that attacking player. Just keep doing what you're doing and shoot blokes. Well, if you have to take a couple steps back,
listen,
you have to.
I speak to coaches and I call them hoovers. And I said, just get an hoover around them. And they're like, and I laugh. I go, because they're never going to be able to attack. Yeah. So just get a couple of hoovers who will go and do all that lovely bit of stuff. And people say, that you need to respect that. I did Jamie Jones and Delaney at Leeds. Yeah. They did the hoovering up for JP and young Singleton, but they were the hoovers. There's Matty Davis, Alex Foster. Yeah. You've got, who's the back row you've got?
Matty Ashurst.
Davis, brilliant. Get a couple of hoovers, and that for me, that cleans it up anyway. That's how I look at it.
Because I know a lot of teams try to spot me out to try to take that attacking out of the game and stuff like that. I enjoy getting spotted because I just go straight to marker, so it's great. And when they do come to me, I'm not going to fall over or anything. I will hold you up, and then you're going to feel all my weight go on top of you. I will put you down. But it works in my favour, though, because I just go straight to marker. If I say right, they'll say he's going this way. Next one, come at me, I'll give you another cuddle. I'm not going to get out and bang you. Ever since the shoulder charge, I'm not going to bang
you. Do you know your grip? So young props watching this.
All right, mate.
I know, because John Bastian's gonna tell us this is how it should be. Do you work on your grip, or is it because you've got hands like shovels?
Nah, well, you do work on your grip. It's good. I've always had like a bigger hand.
We need people to understand what they're on about.
I can't really say anything about my grip at the moment with my right hand, but it's good. But my left hand, it depends how. Like, I always learn how to hold the ball, and I used to hold it like if I had a footy, I'd show you.
Yeah, we should have got one, shouldn't we?
Everyone thinks you hold the footy like on the side. You know what I mean? So like you can just throw it out. Easy to throw, like if you hold it in the middle and the ball's pointing this way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do hold it like in between my thumb and my index finger, so it goes down the line of your arm.
I've got you.
Because if you hold it like this, it's just if someone gives it a knock,
it
will just come out a lot easier. But if it's down your line, when I go in I'll be running and then I can get out.
Is it that carrying that fend, or can you?
Yeah, I can do both, but I'll probably favour going left because I played on my left the whole time.
Yeah.
And when you hold the ball, if you're going into contact, you just bring it straight in and your ball's locked your whole arm, really. But if you're just fending, it's just easy to just flick around or just out the back, anything like that, change, throw it over.
And how come, right, again, for young people playing game, and we met a young 16-year-old prop his dad last night here. Dave, what should they be working on the fence? Why isn't that a skill, what is taught from it? Because you do it. I've seen you bounce 5 off. Yeah. And the body, and you're causing tremors. Yeah. And it's not because you're 20 stone, it's because your hand off, you bang, and you move it. Why is it that probably only see it off 3 or 4 players in this? Why? Like
you say, you need to learn from a young age and understand where. Everyone thinks like when you fend off, like everyone thinks I'm fending off in the face. And I go, I don't fend people in the face. And they're going, yeah, you do. And I said, no, mate, you aim for the middle of the circle of the chest. And it looks like because their head just goes down. And
I've got you. So get you.
I always aim for the chest because if you take away the core, that's like pretty much the core, then they're gone. You take the whole momentum out. And you can even use it to spring off.
I'd love you to try that. When we go into basketball, I'd like you to try that on Mick. Just that fend, and just boom straight through back at fence. Because famously, the great Ellery Hanley was the best exponent of it in our game. And I used to watch JP, and he had a way of fending, but he rolled his body through it. JP had been walking backwards and getting yardage. I used to watch out. And I don't think we coach enough techniques on props these days. They're all like terrified to... And I'm thinking, is it because the coaches have said, secure the ball, and then you see him running?
There's a a few like academy blokes who come through and they do have like a small hand for some reason. It's like they can't. We do a lot of gripping and take the ball off where I'll be standing there, go and take it, and then they'll be trying their best, but they'll just
get it out of your grip.
And I'll just move my hand back and I'll just like lose it. And
right.
Like there is a bit of genetics. That's why the Fiji and in sevens and that are so good at it, like throwing offloads. Their hands are just massive where they can just pick it up probably with 2 fingers and just throw it around and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think it does come down holding how you hold it.
We had Lewis Murphy here the other day and he pulled his hands out. I've never seen it. His hands were like, I'm not kidding you. Have you seen it? They're like Michael Jackson. He
still can't beat me. I've got a better grip than him.
I've got you.
He knows too. So,
did you get taught to fend or is that natural?
I learned. You do learn it yourself.
Right.
It's like.
So like I said, you grew up. How would a young lad go out on his field tonight and practice fending? Tell him how it.
Get your sister or brother out there and start having that. It's all about timing and I don't know, with myself. If I reveal the secret, then everyone else is going to be learning
we need
this.
to. We're trying to get
every Super League.
We're trying to get everybody to learn these guys.
I don't want to get fended off. Right, there's another team need to defend and defend as well. If you know how to defend, you know how to defend it.
But are you leaning forward? Your technique is it? So you're getting level and then you're throwing it out?
Oh, a little bit. It depends on the scenario, really. I do like to bounce, and on the bounce, that's where you see like your feet come into it as well. And it depends on the player. So some blokes like to sit and wait for it. They know it's coming. So they just like sit there and wait for the right opportunity. And that's the best ones where they're just sitting there. But if they want to come forward, it's even better because that's where you just use your footwork and just like swat them away, really. It's not always going to be a fend. It's like a push off or like a just a pull down.
Yeah, right. That's so a clever one for everybody then. So it's
you don't hold it straight. It's could be just simple as a swap because so many people go for your legs. You just pretty much swap their arms down pretty much.
So why do most of props these days just play with their hands tied in?
Mate, they just get told it's the easiest way to make footy, play rugby. They just love their basic props to just catch a ball, run hard, run straight.
We've got to challenge that, haven't we? We've got to challenge that because, again, I know we're after high completion, but Ali, again, I'll go back to Ali TT when he could pop it out. You did know, when Leeds said Maguire scored 40 that season? Watch where Big Ali went on a lot of them. I'm telling you, and people said, "Oh God!" And I used to be able to see that one, and used to be able to see the Andos. You definitely don't see it as much, and it's going out of the game. And I'm probably going to challenge John Bastin and a couple of directors of football, saying what you're saying there is: does it practice? Do you do it? Are you looking for a bump? What you're saying, it's literally using your arms and body to manoeuvre yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not just. I think it's simple and me just going like that.
If they're on a straight line, you're going to beat them, You can't just run straight to someone. If you do that, it's just me against you, but then the other two are just going to go, thanks, mate, and just take you,
Yeah.
So you have to try and break them up, create some space to try and give yourself...
And as soon as you're running, does your hand actually come out?
Yeah. So, I'll be running, it looked like a running technique, and then when I get close to the line, that's where you think about it. I think there was one I did against Saw Matungi where I was against Huddersfield, and I end up just going across the field, and I think maybe their coaching staff just said, hold a line, don't. If someone bites, I love when someone bites out because that's a hole you just take straight away. Yeah. I always know I'll beat that inside man, but that outside one, if someone leaves a hole there for me, it's going to be great. But there's a time where you just take them sideways and they're a bit lazy, and that's where you use your feet. And instead of fending, you just push them in the back to push them across so they can't turn around. You know what I mean? So if he's like that, and then I'm just holding his back, I'm just holding you back like that, pretty much, and just running through that gap. And then that person, it's pretty much hold, turn, fend. That guy's trying to go for your legs and just go through, pretty much.
You're a back in a prop's body because you're thinking exactly. You're mentioning gap. I sit with loads of props and I'm learning myself to actually help them, and I'm always talking to them. And listening to you there has learned me loads because you're playing eyes up. The difference what you're doing is you're playing eyes up and you're looking for gaps, whereas they're being coached and taught just to hit, stick, knees, and not...
I couldn't, you know what I mean? You couldn't go to a prop coming through the ranks like an 18-year-old where it's I can't say it's too late because it could be an odd child who'll come through, and it is where they've been told from the age of, is it 12s here, where they're hit the international field where it's all about you take the first carry, just take it strong and hard, go hard as you can. Down, up, quick play the ball, that's all you can do. It's too late then. That's what I said. And that's why I try to explain it to people, like, if you had a centre or a back rower, you know what I mean, a back rower who's big enough who could play the prop, that's where I could tell him or show him a few things. Because he knows he knows how to hit an out ball on the line and use your fin and stuff like that.
Because we watched the best player I've ever seen, well, probably live, and I watched him for 5 minutes at London. It was Melbourne.
Yeah.
It was English. And he's like a crowbar. He hit this kid, and I'm thinking it was like hitting with a sledge, and I was thinking he's that. And then you see the NRL, you see a lot of them can do it.
Yeah.
I think we could do it in a clinic with Dave and get 6 or 7 props just to have a look at.
It's like that's how much it's advertised over there, you know, man. It revolves the social media, stuff like that, throwing them off. It's just if one person throws and put them up, and then kids will start practicing in fields and playing on your grassroots, really.
Wow.
Like all your boys in the backyard calling names, like fucking yelling out Fifita and throwing in like fans and stuff like that. Got it. You know what I mean? But back home, see, my idol growing up was Matt Rogers. And
Matt Rogers, what a player.
He didn't do the fend and all that.
No.
But the one who I did look up to with the fend was Jonah Loman.
Oh, the king.
The thing he did down the sideline, and that's why I played centre, and I loved just getting down that sideline. I watched him back himself, and then he just bumped, pushed him all the way like nothing.
We were on the receiving end of that.
And then I enjoy that. So every time I got out from a young age, and that's all I practiced, I just went bang, just fending. Mate, it probably started with just a stiff arm like that, running around like that.
Got you.
But the more you get it, the more you learn how fast you can run and then use the momentum of him. So if you've got a big bopper, you know you're not going to fend and he's going to fall over.
Even the centres day when Jamie Lyon, he could get an outside shoulder, then he'd fend, and then I think even the centres become robotic.
There's little nuggets in the competition, you know what I mean? Don't mind calling them nuggets, but the shorter, nuggety blokes who come, and if you fend them, they're not going to go nowhere. They're that low to the ground and that strong, you know what I mean? So you use the momentum off them to push off and get quicker, pretty much create the gap between them, because my arms are your arms are pretty short, so you have to try to grab me. But if I just push off and just use it, the only thing they can grab is my arms, and hopefully it's a bit slippery by then with all the sweat and that. So once I'm through, it's just every man for himself.
No, I love it. Honestly, I think we do. Right, I'm going to wrap this up, but we want one thing I've got to ask you. There's a rumour.
Yeah.
Can we get the boppers? Can we get the 2 Fifitas? Do you think your brother might fancy coming over one day? And is it true we can rock the joint have you got a desire to play together before you call it a day?
Well, we had it at Wakefield last year. Oh, was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year, where it was pretty much over the line, and we had it, and I was so excited by it and everything like that. And then he pretty much hit that awful injury, went through and stuff like that, and I thought he was finished. And there was a lot. We went downhill from there, me and him, because I know how much it meant for us when we played together on the same field, and how much we went to a new level, because there was always a rivalry, trying to say, mate, you're on this, mate, I'll show you. Like that. That's from me, but from him, he's gone, I'm not letting my little brother just show me up like this on this field. So it was a bit like that, but we started together when we were under sixes, you know what I mean? So it would always be there, and if there's a chance next year to let us both play in the same team, right? It would be great, and
we need it for the game. I think the game needs something like that to be able to say,
some characters, I'm telling you.
yeah. Honestly, I think the game itself. I know. Listen, Andrews, we reputedly we know what his wages are. He's going to have to take a big drop. And maybe he don't want to, but he's going to have to.
Mate, he's enough, mate.
He's got enough, mate. He's got enough. But it's a message. We're ready. The 2 boppers. We need him in there.
I still speak to him, and it's still part of his dream to get him. Like both of us playing for a year and stuff, but yeah, I'm excited. I'll be happy to if he comes over. I'm happy to carry. I feel good. I do feel good, and if it's extra luggage, I have to carry him. So I will do. if I have to do the 60-minute stint and he has to do the 20, then so be it.
Well, I actually said that to a coach yesterday. I reckon David did more minutes now. I reckon easily. So
yeah.
And one more. we've talked about you never Tonga,
Yeah.
the Exiles.
Yeah.
Am I mad? So from our perspective, for you for Tonga, yeah?
Yeah.
Why would you not be picked? Why is that the perception from them? Because I answered to you.
It was just, it goes both ways. Like, we played in this game to make the World Cup, stuff like that. And I get me brother, like, mate, you couldn't match them players who come back. Tom Malolo, there's a lot of them who come back into that squad. But it was good. I think now where I've probably got the upper hand on a couple of them, I would like to represent them again. And if that was the need, was to play with them and with my brother, that was the game. Like, I thought I would get him, but I can't see that dream happening to play for Tonga again because they've got so many quality players coming through, even the younger age and stuff. But this Exiles game coming up, I got pulled out last year by the club, which really hurt because it's something I've wanted, and how much I've said it in the media and my whole time over here, I said we need to bring back this Exile game. And it also benefits England. Like, they want to, mate, they're about to verse the very best for Australia, New Zealand, Tonga. And if they make this Samoan team, like, it'll be a dream team as well, that Samoan team, mate.
Right.
The world game's going to another level, but it's just, we need to bring the club level back up. And I think,
I'm challenging you on this because I think if Tonga come over for World Cup, there's no better person to represent Tonga in this country than you, because you know the conditions. They're not going to come over here in November, son. They'll be getting, you know the score. It'll be whoa. And I've watched them. They need somebody in that camp who's actually done it at the top level for 6 years. So them coming over here on the wet conditions on an October night and the crowd and the atmosphere. So I hope you get a chance because I know how much it means to you.
Yeah, means a lot. Got a best mate back home getting married in November. You might have to wait, but it might be straight on the plane, straight home, straight to it. But yeah, if I get the opportunity, I'll probably take it with both hands. And I'm hoping they show their loyalty to me brother, what he's done for Tonga and over the last few years and everything. If I do get the opportunity next year to continue my footy, and I'll be excited to have played next to him alongside me, and I'm sure we'll make a lot of publicity pretty much just going with me and him running a market. I just want to finish the year this year on some consistency. I've been out injured with my hamstring and stuff like that, but I'm here to play now, so it's good. I'm back in and looking forward to it, excited.
The Bob, it's a finish. The King. Cheers. Thank you.